All right, so let's watch this. Morayo from TVC. She's a newscaster, TV show host, all that from TVC, and she was chiming in on that conversation. I'm glad that you brought that up. You said, well, I said, well, welp. Let me use my accurate accent. Like Morayo's husband that said over his dead body to take rent and school fees from his wife. The same questions go to him, but I want us to listen to that video. Why? The same question goes to him. Why? Why can't my wife drop some school fees? Why is that? Why does that become your... Again, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. When a particular ideology becomes your God and you're trying to use that to replace unity between you and your wife, it will all backfire. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a man or woman. This is going to put some balance that people are always craving for. Okay? It's going to put some balance. Let's listen to Morayo and her husband.
Hello, Brown. Is that you? Brown. Brown cavity. Kí ló wá wọ cavity t-shirt fún?
T-shirt company cavity Continental Limited. Yeah, no. It's not just cavity. What is it?
Ó jàre kan record náà ni.
No. You can't. I'll be bringing everything to you.
Hey, but apparently, good to see you, sir.
I had an interview with Tuke, I think Tuke, whatever, and she was saying that she and her husband be living in the same house, and no, she's not paying rent. But she feels that she and her husband should be paying rent. And lots of people are saying, "Yeah, no, that is your you. If you have the means, that's your business." But most people are saying that the man should be the one paying rent fully. She said that both of us are married. We're in the house, we should both be responsible for each other. So, yeah.
That's a default, right? What Kiki is saying, both of us should be responsible for each other. That should be the default. It does not mean rent, right? It doesn't mean rent. It doesn't have to be rent. Oftentimes, that's the reality for a lot of people. They have to help each other out, right? But when you turn it to a God, when you turn it to an ideology, it becomes a problem. Like a lot of the talking point that people are throwing out, right? This is the same reason why when there are issues in marriages and relationships, we need to bring it down to individual, story by story, case by case, right? That's a principle. That is actually a principle. Let's hear that person's story out. Let's see where they're coming from.
No.
You don't agree?
No. I don't agree.
You don't agree with her, or you don't agree?
I don't agree with her.
Really?
I'm not going to say I don't agree with her. The husband and wife should be paying rent.
Let me change this video so you can see. I can record it properly. You don't agree with her, but you agree with her that both husband and wife should be paying together.
I don't agree with her, but I'm not saying she's wrong.
Okay. He's trying to say there are nuances to this issue, right? There are nuances to this issue. He doesn't agree. He has a different opinion, but she's not necessarily wrong, right? Now that sounds like an oxymoron, but let's see where it's going.
Okay.
Different people have different cultural, religious background, values. So, but if you're looking at it from the point of view of equality, some people are of the view that the man and the woman are equal. I am not of that view. I'm not of that opinion.
You don't be like husband and wife are equal.
I'm saying I don't think...
Wait. That's what you just said now, Baba. You don't believe husband and wife are equal, right? It's not a matter of belief. The reality... Let's pay attention here. Pay attention to me. The reality is that a husband and a wife are not equal. That's not the same thing that somebody is superior over the other person. That's not the same thing, okay? That's not the same thing. Let me use a case now. Are you equal to your children? What would you say if I asked you, are you equal to your children? Right? If you've been following Man of Prestige for a while, you're not going to say yes or no. You'll be like, what do you mean? Context. Right? What do you mean? With respect to what? Like, in all due respect, with respect to what? What do you mean? What are we talking about here? Right? Now, superiority is an extreme. Words are important. Not as important as the person hearing it. How are they interpreting the words, right? So if somebody says superior, right? Or they just look at across the board, period. A man is the price. It's like, kilo mean. Because when I met my wife, I thought I saw a price, right? Has she seen me as a price? Probably, right? It's been 19 years, right? So it depends. What do you mean? Kila and so, the human beings are much more complex than trying to bring things down to absolutes. That's the issues. That's why we talk about context. It's very, very important. But Apache says marriages are different with different. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Don't let us turn marriage into, to business, different from business. Don't let us turn marriage into business contract. Could it work anyway? It's not going to work because there's the layers of emotions involved in marriage. It's not going to work. Treat it like a business. You collect. It's not going to work. We are there to lift each other up and work together. It's literally one. It's not a Bible talk when they tell you you become one. You're literally one. And by the way, after divorce, in so many ways, you're still one. But good point, Brother Patrick. With different people in it, I meant to write. Okay, with different people. Okay. Rent, Donna. Hey, Donna. Donna says rent or mortgage and school fees are the biggest expenses. So maybe he doesn't want to feel the burden of having to pay them. No, he's saying that nobody can share that with him. That's what he's saying. We'll get to that in a second. It could be as seen as a protective thing. It becomes your God. You need to he needs to relax on that too. Anything you turn into like this stunt strict rules in the middle of marriage will backfire. Marriage doesn't work like that. You need to see it as one. If you don't see each other as one, you need to back off of each other and go your separate ways, because you will show each other she gay. I guarantee it. If there's any ounce, see, when Yoruba people it's a very tricky thing. All it needs is a little crack. It doesn't have to be we fight all the time. Oh no, we kind of respect each other. All it needs is just a little crack to come inside. Everything is wide open. And you wonder, oh, we used to see them yesterday. I wonder what happened to them. Something tintiny. That's all. Just one small crack. So when you have a mindset that's almost demonstrating competition, either directly or indirectly, you need to be careful. You need to be careful if you plan to be with a person for the longest, of course. Okay. Let's see here. A Nigerian man will interpret it as being superior and the wife being inferior. Yeah, I think that's an English problem. Context matters. Okay, you see that same Nigerian man in their action. The action does not demonstrate that. That's probably an English wahala, semantics issue. Okay, now there are some like that. When they end up in crisis, they actually try to use that manipulative, controlling thing, right? Because those words are actually dangerous. They are dangerous not for when everybody's happy, because he would treat his wife like equals. Not exactly, because he's paying for everything, right? But as in like he will worship his wife when everything is good, right? That's not equal either. If a man is worshiping his wife, damn near washing his pata, washing her pata, right? That's not equal. That's somebody who is worshiping their wife. Equality does not play a role when it comes to marriage. It just doesn't. What matters is, do you complement each other? That's what matters. Right? Are you on the same page? Right? Saute, somebody's looking at it on the other side. They look at one of you, they say that one is a subordinate. But it's only you two inside of it that know what you are benefiting from each other. Very, very important conversation here, that when I do have chance for calling later on, and I want us to have like a whole live stream talking about this, because this is something that a lot of people struggle with. They are good people, but they can't seem to realize where the devil comes in. They don't know where they don't know. They can't remember when the crack started. In the German, we already did that. That wives are subordinate. Yeah, that only comes in when people are in crisis, which is why the word subordinate, superior, inferior, and they start to become dangerous when they start to become talking points, right? Right? Instead of saying there's no equality, I prefer to say you need to bring equity. It needs to be replaced with something, because the lames will replace it with superiority and inferiority. Right? We can all agree that equity. Why? Because some days you're weaker than I need you to be, but I'm okay with that, because I will lift you up that day, and vice versa. Right? And when other perspective, including me, if I end up in crisis, when I start to perceive it, it might look like it's not fair. Fairness does not play a role here. You need to be careful with anything that indirectly suggests some level of competition. On surface, it might not look exactly like that, but you need to just think. You need to, including your children. When you come in through the programs, we'll tell you straight up, your children come secondary to your spouse. Why? What's my children? You're not getting it. I know what you're saying. I know, like, my children doing my first blah 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 blah. If you care about this union, you cannot afford to leave any crack open. It will hunt you down. Why? Because there's going to be that day. That day is coming. It's going to be a little crisis. There's a little argument that happened. Somebody felt it more than the other person, because there's no such thing as equality. It's just stupid. Right? Somebody felt it more than the other person. They disagree on who offended who the most. Right? But then, because you always had this little open that, after all, my children are, they're, it's indirectly, they're superior to my spouse, because those are my blood. Literally, they say that. Remember the Akimi story? The children are the blood, not the wife who helped you create them. Those are the little cracks that the devil does not come to you and say, I'm here. When I say the devil, it's usually you, by the way. Right? The devil doesn't say, I'm here to destroy your marriage. That's not how it works. These issues come from the blind spot. The thing that we're so innocent. Things like, what is wrong with, I pay 50% of the rent. They come from little things like that. It's just that now it's a different context. It's a new day, but that thing has become a god, right? And you've normalized it, but everybody is competing. Everybody is competing. I do, you do, I do. It's not a competition. What am I gonna do to really drive it home? If it's a competition, stop everything. Go your separate ways. Very, very important. Hey, Fab Stolly. Hi, MOP. Like you, anybody will be comfortable living rent-free. The cocoa of this is that when the women have money and want to influence the kind of home and school the man chooses, she wants a say. That means she doesn't have a say. You're suggesting that she doesn't already have a say. Again, you're suggesting that there are crises already. So their issues is deeper than the money and the kind of home, right? And now that you sow money, it will not solve that problem, because that problem is much deeper. You get it? You get it? No?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
All right. Gee, so life happens, and if life happens to a man like a husband, he might start taking it out on his wife. We need to be flexible. Listen, that's all I'm saying. If you make something your God, it's not flexible. That's all I'm saying. Okay? If you make an ideology your God, I'm open to my wife paying the rent. Okay, I'm open to it. Let me finish playing. This is a part 2, by the way, of Kiki. We're going to Morayo.
A man is equal to a woman. There is a bit of something higher about
a bit of something higher. It's just making. It's trying to make a case for the fact that you need to be one, but it's going the wrong direction. Of course, it's going to trigger a bunch of people now.
the man.
A bit of something higher. Higher. Okay.
So if I'm saying if you're not equal, I think the bigger burden should always be carried by the man.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna.
The whole point of equity is that it's not necessarily the same beginning, but we end up at the same place as one. Right? But it adjusts for the fact that the reality is that you and your children are not the same. You're not equal. They're in your custody. The one that's seemingly higher, this higher thing, has more responsibility. It's going to be held more accountable. That's the reality for most marriages. It doesn't matter if you help with the 50-50 rent or 25% rent or anything. When it shows up in public like everything has really pafuka, that man is going to be held responsible. What was he looking at? How did his household become this? He's going to be held accountable. You know me, I would drag woto. But the reality is that society will drag him woto. The wrong word is equality. It's wrong. I barely say wrong. You know that. It's just not real. It's not realistic. It's not. Okay? Even when you help your husband and you chip in a little bit here and there, you get something from that, all thanks to you, that you're able to think that way. By the way, our mothers did that too. I won't tell which side because some of them are watching. My grandmothers, let's say all of them, okay? They always helped my grandfather. In fact, one of my grandfathers, according to story, I don't know how real the story is, I wasn't there, still owe money to my grandmother from the house, all the money she chipped in. The last of them passed away in 2005 or 6. They are gone. But we're still here. I have tons of cousins everywhere. We get stuck on bullshit, is my point. The reality is that wife has been helping their husband many times above and beyond when it comes to the tangibles we get stuck on. They are not relevant to what creates a household. As long as people come together, they complement each other and they have unity, no one can come there in between them. But if you have a little bit of a something like this, that seems like innocent, but it's spelling competition of any type, or it's coming from a place of fear. Fear is a big deal. Fear is camouflaged sometimes as life happens. Chinye. We need to be guided. We need to be guided. We can get to the part of the solutions.
Turn this around so that you and I can show, because there's a perspective she said. She said something about if anything happens, you know, when a man and a woman just scatter it, and the man will say, "Get out of my house, Crow, let me get out of the Crow, no, get out of my house." If you know that both of you are paying rent, both of you own the house, nobody can they tell you to get out of the house. So that's really
you see, you're talking about a relationship that has broken down is a totally different.
Yes.
But assuming things were going right, I think paying of the house rent should be the responsibility of the man. And I'm talking of
so he said something, and it's both right and wrong. He's right about the fact that you're talking about worst case scenario. Things are broken down. This couple looks like they're on the same page. Whatever they're doing will always work for them. Okay? If that's the reality inside, because I don't know what is going on inside, right? But the part where it's wrong is that it's not exactly wrong, but I want to spell it out. I want to add context to it. being the responsibility of the man does not mean the man is always doing it. Right? That's two different things. The man is always paying the school fees and the rent and the mortgages. It's not the same thing as it's ultimately his responsibility. You get it? You don't get it? He is expected to assume that responsibility. Okay? And because it's part of our social construct, yes, he might struggle if he's not capable of paying it over an extended period of time. What I'm telling the gentleman is to calm down with that too. It's okay if you're in a position temporarily where your wife helps you. That's literally, if you're going by the scriptures, that's what it is. Helpmeet. And the default, the reality is that they're always helping anyway. It might not look like money, oftentimes, but they're always helping. So I'm just saying, don't, this grieving image that everybody's making up for themselves, we need to be careful. Bring it down. Tone it down. You're looking for one simple thing: being on the same page with your spouse. From where you are right now and getting to the same page is the work. You're not going to skip that work by generalized oversimplifications of ideologies. So if I pay 50-50, you will suddenly feel safer. Sure, as long as that mindset is not translating to every other area of life. Just in case you don't throw me out, oh no, I want to pay half of my own car. The guy said, I want to buy you a car. You're like, no, I can't do. Are you gonna pretend like you don't know that's happening? That's happening. No, I don't want your thing, because then you come back tomorrow and be telling everybody that you bought me the car. The issues are deeper than the car. You get what I'm saying? The issues are being deeper than the car. The car is not the issue. You paying 50% of that car, that gift that somebody is trying to give you right now, it's not going to remove the underlying issue. It's not. It's actually going to get worse, because resentment is now silently being sown into that relationship. Remember, all the devil needs is a small crack.
The man who will never have to say that to his wife, that get out of my house.
Yeah, but there's situations where it happens. Life happens now, because you're going to plan.
She just said it. Life happens. We all say that, right? The only thing where we say life happens are marriages and relationships. Life happens, so, you know, we don't say that in any other institution in the world. It's just in this marriage that we keep saying things like that just to, you know, make ourselves feel a little better, so we can skip the work. It's tough, it's difficult, but it's highly rewarding. Okay, especially if you've been through something, somebody has shown you shege before. Listen, I don't judge you. It's only natural that you want to protect yourself. Okay, but the awareness will go a long way. Just the awareness will go a long way that, hey, I'm trying to protect myself here. I don't mean to create a division between me and my spouse, but I'm just trying to protect myself. The idea that you are aware that this is a silent, sneaky division coming in goes a long way. A lot of people are just in the blind. They're just like, no, and then they wonder why the issues are still there. And those issues, they will keep haunting you. They will show up in another way because, you know, remember, they always hide out in the blind spot. And you can only see so much at any point in time.
Well, if in that case, if that's the perspective you have, if that's how you're looking at it, then maybe if they pay the rent equally, both of them will have a right. But I don't think...
Right. Another buzzword just came in.
They should pay equally. The man should take care of the shelter. That, I believe, should be the traditional responsibility of the man.
Do you think it's a feminist viewpoint where, listen, both of us must share? I don't want anybody taking responsibility for me. Both of us must be part of this solution. Nobody will be able to tell me tomorrow that I handled everything, I paid for this, I paid for that. The idea really is to get both of us to do it.
I think it's normal if a man says he pays.
It's like, why are you bringing in feminist stuff? It's still normal. As far as it's concerned, normal. As a man, I want to be responsible. I would just be careful not to put too much weight on yourself as a man. I will be careful too, like everything else, right? But I think it's part of our social construct. right? It's part of our social construct. What is it that the feminists want? I wonder what they want. They want results where men or women end up with the same equal rights, or they actually want to be equal. Those are two different things. Because if you want to be equal, does that include everything? Equal responsibility, does that include everything, right? Expectation wise, because remember, emotions is carrying a lot of weight too. It's not just, oh yeah, we can call the cops, we can call 911 right now. Yeah, you can, okay, but when it comes down to the emotional connection that you have with that person, do you want them to be a man, right? Are you as a man asking her to be an adult? When you're arguing with your wife, you collect, she will show you a child. Why? Because you're operating as a child too, probably, most likely, right? She will show you more of it. Let's be guided.
For this, he pays for that. I think that's the traditional role of a man.
The new world, as a woman, I also want to feel like
said new world.
I'm part of it. You can't take that full responsibility when you we are all part of this together.
Now, you see what just happened? She just threw him under the bus. She just threw him right under the bus. Voila. This is why Will Smith was like, why you put the camera in my face? Remember that video? Will Smith was like, why you have a camera in my face? Jada brought like a camera and stuff like that. Now you want to tell all 20 million monitoring spirit that you helped me pay a bill one time. All right. Now, reality is that women do help, right? But do I necessarily want to have the feeling that you're throwing me under the bus on this video right now when you were asking me a question? I'm having an opinion. Do I want to feel that? Can I turn off that feeling right now? I feel like you've thrown me under a bus. I can try, but emotions no be your mate. I might just be in the funky place emotionally for the next 15 minutes before I do what's all right. If I totally say yup. Mark 3:25 King James Version. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Baba, you are so right. Brother Patrick, that is absolute in every sense of it. You're not listen. Oh yeah, people think it's only when you're actively trying to divide it. It's only evil people who are dividing it by themselves. No, that's the easy part. The rest of us, like normal good people, we're just walking around. Sometimes it's incompetence. You don't realize when you are bringing division. It's very silent. Blind spot. So if you're going to bring in some absolute, you bring absolute to as offense, right? What everybody is doing is defense. Let me defend myself. Let me defend myself. They forget that this is a game. You have to play offense too. How do you play offense? You tell your children like, no, my wife comes first. You collect. My husband comes first. Those children will never try to come between you. But if you lost the idea small that, but those children are my blood though. Life happens. These men of nowadays, they can throw anybody out at any point in time. The day you smell anything remotely close to that, that little thing you were nursing at the corner of your mind will grow wings. You didn't know when it came in. It was just innocent when it came in. I keep telling you, it's very simple. Go to the courthouse. Go to your county courthouse. Go and look at everybody that's going through divorce there. Are they just all bad people? No. I'll give you the answer before you go. It's not. It's good people. Good people everywhere. Collecting woto. Good people, nice guys everywhere. Getting dumped left and right. They're losing their mind.
Child!
Yes, I understand you're higher as far biblically, the man is in charge of the house, but even me as a woman, I would like to participate, don't you think?
Well, if it's a discussion you're going to have, if you're going to have that conversation with your man, and if he agrees with that, but where I'm coming from, it has never been done. I've never seen it from amongst my own people.
It's talking about the responsibility
for the man and the woman to be sharing the cost.
Well, me, I get upset with you.
Well, he said sharing cost. the reality is that they do share the cost for the most part. Responsibility, he's right. If he's talking about responsibility, he's right. Most of the households, you know, is supposed to be, at least in Nigeria, you know, maybe in the Yankees and stuff. Well, in the modern world, it's quite different. You know, when people are working full time together and stuff, is the dynamics are different. But in terms of the responsibility, the sense of responsibility is still the man. And if a man is not capable of doing that, the woman, a typical woman anywhere in the world, including all races, will start looking at him sideways. Is this a man? That's the reality. And that emotional burden is significant. And it can tear families apart if they're not aware of it. Forget that they actually both pay together at the same time. You have to separate the two. You have to separate the two. Right? Now, I do think men need to like face the reality now, that the reality is that a lot of households are, women are helping them carrying that weight. In addition to having to take care of children and the household and chores and stuff like that, that is a lot, right? But what do we know? If women subscribe to these same things, it becomes fair, right? So even when a woman is saying, this is too much for me, another woman is saying, I beg, I beg, I beg. Especially if it's their brother or their son or something like that. So what am I trying to say? You need to focus on the emotional part of all of it. Okay? If people are doing what they do and it makes them feel fulfilled, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And a lot of people are not going through that school. They're worried about, you know, if you just do this and 50-50, you wash plate tomorrow, I wash plate tomorrow, I change diaper tomorrow, you change diaper. They think that solves their problem. It doesn't. It's nice gesture. But you know where Mr. Nice Guy ends up all the time? They come back and cry wolf and say, but I did this, I did that, but it was never enough because that wasn't the problem.
When sometimes you want to act and say, school fees, you're thinking, I'll be telling you, let me suppose, no, what is that?
First of all, sweetheart, two things. For me, personally, two things. I will never expect a woman to share with a man, especially our shelter and the schooling of the children, the cost of schooling of the children. Every other thing. For example, if you...
This guy is the definition of patriarchy. It's like, Baba, like, I can't. I just... He can't, the idea in his head is making him sick to his stomach. Right? For me, it's not that deep. If I'm in a situation, which no condition is permanent, as I always say, if I'm in a situation and my wife can help, by all means, she will fulfill our heavenly duty, which is my helpmeet. Okay? Now, I'm not going to lie that is not a heavy burden on my soul. If I don't double and triple and reward her back multiple times, folds back, I'm not resting though. It's not something I control. It's just what it is. It's the way maybe I've been socialized. It is what it is. Okay, that's what I consider being a man, not the idea that I can't take help. I can take help. That's precisely one of the reasons why I married her, because she's an asset to me in many ways other than money. But if in this moment she can help me, then absolutely that's what we're gonna do.
If you decide for now that, for example,
that days you had that you know, but you know life happens, bro.
And I didn't
know Jesus. I mean, he brought in Jesus.
You see, for example, now, if for example you come now and you tell me that you have budgeted 60 million naira for vacation, that for summer you want to spend 60 million, honestly, I would gladly applaud you and I won't complain. It's your money. You can spend. If you even ask for my own contribution, I will add to it. But I will not let my wife be the one paying for the school fees of my children or the shelter over my head.
If I had a chance to speak to him, right, I would just be like, just say, I will not let my wife take on the responsibility. I am always open to take help. This is some of the struggles that men have. I am always open to taking help. And by the way, if you're open to taking help, it makes her feel safe. That works better than her saying, no, by force, I must pay 50-50. Right? Because it's coming from a place of, we're one. See, the same actions can be coming from a place of, the same action, right? The same actual event and action can come from two different places. One is coming from a place of competition. The other is coming from a place of we're one. The same activity, the same action, the same events, but completely different context, completely different motives. You get it?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
All right.
So when you say, no, when you demonstrate that, no, of course I'm open to ideas from my wife, it's much more powerful than when she feels the need to, like, no, I need you to take my idea too. Take my idea too. I need to have a say too. Yeah, they're just different. They're different, right? So now, as a lady, should you wait until a man is able to do that? No, I'm not saying you should wait, but I'm letting you know that if you force it down their throat, it's not going to work either. The work is going to be much more bigger than a 50-50 formula. That's all I'm saying. Chia said, no condition is permanent equals to life happening. Yeah. It's like you were reading my mind, right? Same activity, same talking point, semantics, different contexts, different emotional build-up, emotional dynamics, same activity. I just want us to be aware that we cannot skip the work. Cookie cutter formulas like 50-50, including 100-100 will not work. 100-100, if you know math, is the same thing as 50-50. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. It's the same thing. Okay? Nati says, what is a maid that provides financially but is not present? What if a man that provides financially is not present? African men need to wake up. What do you mean by present? You mean physically present? Because people can be present and not present physically. What do you mean? Can you elaborate? I think Brother Patrick said the man is a real traditional man. Listen, Brown, as the wife fondly calls him, he's not budging.
I have a problem with that. So Kiki has her own point of view, and I'm not saying it's crazy. I'm not saying it's unacceptable.
I'm not saying it's crazy, but it's crazy.
I'm just saying it's a different point of view. It's a different perspective about life. And I don't hold that view. I don't have that perspective. And I'm not condemning anyone who has it. You don't know Kiki's background. You don't know how much her background, her religion.
This is true. We don't know where she's coming from. Again, that spells out defense. You don't win a game by playing defense only. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Things around have influenced her into coming to that position where
no one will be able to score on you. You're right. It's like prenup. But you still collect because you'll be left behind. There's a whole league. There's a marketplace. There are people playing the game, right? You'll be left behind.
She's in. That may be the position of the modern woman. That may be the global position. I don't know. But I peculiarly, I have my own background, my own religion, my own beliefs. And all those things combined have told me that, look, you have to provide shelter and provide for the shelter of your...
Yeah, it's repeating the same point. I subscribe to the idea that a man is responsible for those things. The reality is that women help above and beyond with those things. That's the reality. A man needs to get up to speed and be okay with that, because that, after all, she's supposed to be your helpmate, right? And also that when you're open to that, when it shows in the way you make your speech, it makes her feel safer. She probably won't run around media talking about she has to pay 50-50 either. Okay, so what Kiki said to me demonstrate that there's other things she's defending something, and she said it herself. That way, that one day I can take the TV, you can take the radio. She said it herself, so I'm not putting words in her mouth. I'm just letting you know that that place where you're coming from, That's a crack that I will not let it. I will just be careful so that doesn't grow out of proportion, you know. Let me see. That was exactly what I meant initially when I said life happens. Oh, you know, text, you know. Sorry, I might have taken it out of context. Is physically present but does not help at all. Okay, the person demand that does not help at all. If a man is physically present, does not help at all, the first step is to first of all express how you feel about that to him. Okay? Now, if you have to do that more than twice or second time, I would definitely engage. What is it that he cares about? He cares about something. He's still with you because he cares about something. Seduction. You need to know what that is. Okay? You need to know what that is. Once you know what that is, I will see if I can incorporate that into how to present how I feel again. Okay? If that's not working, I will seek personal counseling if I were you. Okay? After you seek personal counseling, they might be able to help you with regards to getting to the results you're looking for. Okay? All right? So again, we're launching our counseling program in December, so just be on the lookout for that. For now, there are other people out there that do counseling. There's Dr. Shola on YouTube. There is Pastor Kingsley. They're also on YouTube. You can find links in their community pages and stuff. Okay. All right. So let's see. Chia says, I believe she means providing financially but does not participate in any other aspect of the relationship. Yeah, you need to, that financially, you need to, okay, I'm going to inject a step into it. That financially that is providing, I will zone in on that, and I will expand on it. Okay, I will basically, how do I say it? I will focus in on that, and I'll the fact you appreciate the financial part, right? I will make it known to him clearly that I appreciate that financial aspect of things, and then I will incorporate that together again with talking about how you feel with regards to everything else, right? And then again, beyond money, as always, there's something that he cares about. Once he knows that you care about what he cares about, everything else becomes easier. Listen to what I just said. Once he knows that you care about all the other things that he cares about, everything else will become easier. Now, what I just said is easier said than done. So you might need support system. You might need counseling to help you navigate through that. Okay, that's going to be easier said than done. All right. Like bonding with the children or being emotionally involved with your wife or doesn't. Yeah, I know. I get it. Completely get it. All right. So let's leave Mr. and Mrs. Brown alone and let's get to the main topic of the day. This conversation went beyond what I thought, but you know how this goes.